So we at the Raven Foundation have come up with a new project, and it's called Be a Hero for Peace. And Be a Hero for Peace is basically looking at 9/11 and trying to come up with alternative ways that we might be able to deal with the violence within our midst. Especially as the 10th anniversary of 9/11 is coming up, we feel like this is an important project as we move into the future past 9/11. And so both at the Raven Foundation and at Be a Hero for Peace, we talk a lot about non-violence. And we do so for many reasons, but two of those reasons are that we know how violence works. And we know that non-violence indeed works. So here's how violence works. We use the term mimetic, and we get this from mimetic theory. And what mimetic means is that humans are imitative in a non-conscious way. And this is supremely seen in violence. So violence is supremely mimetic or imitative. What ends up happening, both on a personal and national level, is that if somebody were to hit you, your instant reaction is to hit back. But you want to hit back in a way that is the final blow, the most powerful blow that stops this conflict. And so this works on a physical level, but it also works on verbal and emotional levels. So if somebody gossips behind your back, your reaction is to gossip behind that person's back too. If you're in an argument with someone and you raise your voice, this person that you're arguing with is going to raise their voice, and it's just going to escalate. And the person with the loudest voice ends up winning. And so when one nation comes against another nation and attacks it, the other nation will try to come back and have even more powerful weapons in order to defeat the other. This happens on a national level. It also happens, unfortunately, on 9/11 when terrorists come and attack us. We hit back at an even greater level. The problem with this is that it just escalates, and we're experiencing this as we've been at war with terrorists for coming up on 10 years. And we see this warning of mimetic violence. Just in the past few months, we captured Osama bin Laden, the mastermind behind 9/11. And as we captured and killed him, many people celebrated out on the streets of the United States. And we at the Raven Foundation were critical of those celebrations because we know how violence works. And even as these celebrations were happening, we were being warned that they were going to come back and try to get us. And a couple weeks ago, we saw exactly this happening. The same Navy SEALs unit that captured bin Laden had a helicopter shot down by the Taliban. I mean, this is what violence does. It gets us caught up in a trap of violence with our enemies, and we are all justifying it by the same principle. They say that we are the bad guys. We say that they are the bad guys, and we're all just going after one another in this cycle of violence. This is the warning that we have received from the last 10 years. How do we get out of this trap? Well, the good news is that not only is violence mimetic, but nonviolence, forgiveness, and love are also mimetic. How nonviolence works in a way that violence can never work is that nonviolence allows us to see our common humanity. Violence, when we get caught up in a cycle of violence, only allows us to demonize one another. Nonviolence allows us to see one another as human beings. So we begin to see our enemies as human beings, and our enemies begin to see us as human beings. Maybe forgiveness, nonviolence, and love is the way forward. It takes a lot of courage to begin to change this trap because we think that non-violence means that we are more vulnerable than when we use violence. But the question that needs to be asked is, does violence make us more secure? No. It only leads to more and more violence. What's the way out? Non-violence, indeed, has some vulnerability in it. the thing that we need to acknowledge is that we are human, and as humans, we are vulnerable. This indeed takes a lot of courage, but we want to challenge ourselves and also challenge you to learn more about nonviolence and the way that it works. So please join us, join the Raven Foundation, and also check us out over at Be a Hero for Peace. Join that website, like us on Facebook. You'll get a lot more information there, and yeah, let us know what you think. Thanks.